Welcome to CA Search Advisors on the Case webinar. My name is Amy Bauer, Managing Principal and Co-founder of CA Search Advisors, an executive search firm that focuses on the real estate industry. We founded CA Search Advisors in 2019, and now we are doing some of these wonderful webinars to bring information to all of you that focuses on different aspects of recruiting. And today we are talking about marketing and culture. Culture has become a very, very important aspect of the job search, just as important as title, just as important as compensation. And the reason for that is that not every culture is right for every candidate. And so we really encourage as executive recruiters that candidates do their research about companies, preferably before they apply for a job, but certainly before they accept the position. Nobody wants to redo a job search, not a candidate, not a recruiter, not a hiring manager, not an internal HR department. So when a candidate accepts a role, gets in a role, and it happens, realizes that it's not a fit, that is hard on everyone involved. That's hard on the candidate. That's hard, again, on the hiring manager, the department surrounding that candidate, the internal recruiting team, the external recruiting team, everybody involved. So we really want people to do as much research as they can before they accept a job on culture. So where do you start? Well, as a candidate, a lot of times you're going to start with a company's online presence. You want to see that if their public facing presence comes across as a company that you would be excited to work for. Do they share the same values? Maybe you're looking for a company that does a lot of volunteering, or a company that really has a big focus on flexibility, or a company with a huge focus on wellness. So when you explore that online presence as a candidate, do you like what you see and hear? So one thing that we wanted to focus on today is, how do companies actually tell that story? How do they get their culture across, not only to potential customers, but also to potential candidates? And I am so excited to have Tom Ainsley here. He has over 20 years of experience in marketing strategy and is the founder of Ainsley Company. He founded the company in 2010. And actually, Tom, you and I met many, many years ago when a firm that I was working for was looking for a new marketing agency, and they selected Ainsley. And now you are actually CA Search Advisors marketing firm, and we are so thrilled to work with you. And you guys are wonderful. So please tell us a little
Thank
bit
you.
about yourself and about Ainsley.
Yeah, sure. No, excited to be here. And yeah, this is a lot of fun. Just based on the history, there's a lot of nostalgia participating in this. So it's a lot of fun. Yeah, so I started the firm coming up 15 years ago in January. And it's been a lot of fun to see the inside workings of a lot of different companies, from large firms to small firms to founder-led firms to those backed by private equity. It's really interesting to dig into a company and learn what is that they do, what their internal culture is like. And so, we are, as you said, an advertising and marketing agency. That means a lot of different things. We do the tactical things. We build websites, we shoot videos, we run digital marketing campaigns, et cetera. But really the strategy, I believe, is what sets us apart. Sitting down and asking, what is it that we're going to do that's going to make us successful? What tools do we need to use? What story do we need to tell? Before we jump in and start, working through those tactics and channels, we try to figure out what's the core story. And so it's really exciting to do that for lead generation for companies, to help them figure out how they're going to acquire new customers. But the flip side of that is, as they grow, obviously they need the talented, dedicated staff to help them fulfill those new jobs, those new clients that they're bringing on board. And so culture has just become something that we are tasked with to meet our goals, to help clients grow. They've got to be able to fulfill it. So the messaging internally to the team that is already there, and then also the messaging to candidates to try to bring people in to do that work, has just become just as important as the lead gen itself.
So, as a marketing firm, this may sound silly, but clarify what online presence means, because for those of us who aren't marketing professionals, certainly think of a few applications, a few different things like Salesforce. We think of LinkedIn, or we think of Instagram, or a few things that we think of that come to mind, and of course your website. But to a marketing professional, when you're looking at online presence, what does that encompass? What is that all about?
Yeah, I mean, for me, well, I'll start with the analytics. When you look at the analytics for a company's website, generally, homepage obviously is going to be one of the most visited pages. The second most visited page is typically going to be the about us or the our team or something that is about who the company is, who works there, what does their staff makeup look like, what is it, who are the people that are actually within this company living that brand. And so, I think that's true. Not only we're talking about from a recruiting standpoint today, obviously, but also for prospects that are going to find out what the soul of a company is. We recently started working with a firm that does great work. They are 350 employees. They are backed by private equity. They do some amazing things and they have a great team, but that is not actually present on their website. You go to the website and it's got great content, but there's not any information about who is there leading the team, who the experts are that make up that team, who would be advising clients. And so that's one of the first things that we're going to tackle is making sure that, yes, the expertise is there, but the expertise lives within the people that are there. And so we've got to showcase them, and their personality, their background, their leadership, a lot more. Again, both to get the right people to come and join that team, but also just to acquire clients. So online presence for us, back to the question, it starts with the website. It really does, making sure that the about page, the our team page tells a compelling story that is sincere and true, obviously, but gives some details beyond just what the services that we offer are. And then I think the second piece is the careers page. The careers page should be a microsite within itself. It needs to be something that people can go and see the job postings. We have companies that we work with that are, I'll use government contractors as an example, where they are using an applicant management system. That's fantastic. We understand it has a purpose and can help you with a lot of the compliance things that you need to deal with. But just embedding an applicant management systems job posting within your careers page is the most soulless thing you can do. You need to dress those job openings up with, hey, again, culture. What is it like to work here? Who are the people? Where do you volunteer? What is your corporate culture? How do people interact? Again, post COVID, we're dealing with a world where the there's a lot more employees that are remote and not just all in the same place. So again, if they are remote, how do you bring culture and share that across people that may be in different states, different countries, et cetera? So it starts with the website. That's our do not pass go. Don't do anything else until we fix that. And then it moves on to social media. We look at LinkedIn, we look at Facebook, Instagram. It really depends on what platforms are appropriate for your business, right? You do not need to be on all of them, in my opinion. You need to be on those that are appropriate, that you can do well, and that you can keep updated. Having 7 different social media icons at the bottom of your page just because they exist doesn't do anything if you're posting the same stuff and are not keeping it updated. You need to treat them all differently.
And I know on our website, we have a news section. We also have an insight section, which is wonderful because our news section, of course, is for any important news, like we're moving and things like that. But also for our insight section, that's sometimes where we share our thought pieces. And how can companies use their kind of their insight section or something like that to kind of get their culture across?
Yeah, I mean, I think it goes back to not just the company culture. The people are the ones that really showcase that company culture. And so when I go to insights, for me, I don't want to see nameless, faceless insights just from a company, especially if you're a larger company with a lot of different people. I want to know who the experts are because I'm hiring the company, but the company is going to send me the experts to work on my account. And so I need to know, I want to know what their background is. I want to know what the 2 jobs they had previously are. I want to know what experience they're bringing to the table. I want to know where they went to college. I want to know if they have a golden retriever. Like there are things that you can do. People buy from people they like, people they trust, and they feel like they can relate to. So the more that you can give someone, yes, insights into your credentials, but also how you think, that's what they want. And so insights is hugely important because it's showcasing how you think, not just what your education may be.
So when you are looking at, and you touched on a couple of these things on the different aspects of a company's culture that you focus on when telling the story, history, mission, vision, what are some of the other things that you have them put on their website, and of course on their social media pages to kind of highlight the different things that they're doing within their company that kind of show their culture?
I think you've got to demonstrate it. Look, we've all worked with companies that have their mission, their value statement, their what they're trying to do, and people spend a lot of time wordsmithing those things, and so they're important. But everybody's going to have a great or should have a great mission statement and vision and values. What I want to see is evidence that how those are demonstrated in real life, right? So we've got a client that we work with that is a large general contractor on the East Coast. And so every general contractor, I bet that you would go look at their website, has all their qualities and their values, et cetera. But in talking to the people that work there and in talking to their clients, which we did, we interviewed their clients about why they feel like they are special and important, why they trust them. They live it. It is repeated. It is one of my favorite quotes is that people need to be reminded more than they need to be told. And so you can put your mission and your vision, and your values on your site. That's great. But if people can't repeat it at a moment's notice or show how they're demonstrating that or show the volunteer work that they're doing that fulfills that or tell stories about how they've lived that, I just, I may question or doubt or need some more explanation about how that is demonstrated in everyday life. Because again, everybody has it on their site. Show me how you're living it. Is that real? Or is it a cutthroat place where the deal is the only thing that matters? And so there's evidence of that, and you can find it. Listen, the internet, I say it like it's yesterday, but has leveled the playing field. You can go find out anything you want to find out about the company, about the leaders. I think it's important for the company to do certain things through social media and on their website, but also leaders need to curate their online presence. If I go and I look at a company's CEO, CTO, CFO, whoever it is that I may be interacting with, or their principals, et cetera, and I see something that I can't relate to, or maybe is a little questionable for me in terms of activities they're participating in or content that they're sharing, that may not align with my values, then all of a sudden, all that work that's been done about trying to bring me in by a recruiter or by their culture team or whatever is out the window because it doesn't add up, and I'm uncomfortable. And so, yeah, I think it extends beyond just the company's online profile itself. I think it's the leaders that are visible within that need to curate their profiles as well.
Wonderful. Okay. And you mentioned, volunteerism and things like that. So post the pictures of the team building 5K, post the pictures of the volunteers and make sure everybody knows that you're out there doing those things. If that is your mission, that you're out there living that mission and vision.
100%. So I'm a big believer in obviously volunteering and giving back are hugely important, but I would also say that one of the biggest opportunities of doing something like that is actually the shared experience that you get with your teammates, right? So the end goal and what the impact that you're making are huge, and I don't mean to diminish that at all. But honestly, shared experiences are so powerful. So retreats, volunteering, 5K, anything that you can do that's not within the normal work day, which is important as well, to build shared experiences with your coworkers, with your team, and with your clients, goes a long way when you're starting to tackle hard stuff that happens within the normal client experience. And so, yeah, I think it's important to show because when you're, side by side with a teammate dealing with an urgent or timely or difficult situation, it's those shared experiences that are really going to come back and be a foundation for you to get through that and have empathy and care, et cetera, when dealing with those teammates and working through something together. So, yeah, I think there's two values really that you get, or two areas that you get when you do something like that. So it's important to show it.
Well, and I know you mentioned, making those job descriptions a little more human, and we know, like you said, that companies use applicant tracking systems, especially when they're getting thousands and thousands and thousands of resumes per day, and that's especially true for larger companies. But what aspects do you find impact potential employees the most, especially when they're looking at a careers page, when you're designing a careers page? Is it, do you include testimonials from employees, photo? What kinds of things do you find when designing that employee page that really impacts potential employees?
Yeah, I mean, I think employee stories, right, that seem sincere, right? Obviously, you're going to pick stories that you feel like are interesting and shareable, but they need to obviously seem sincere. But make sure you get a good cross section of all the different types of people that work there, right? Don't just pick from senior management. Don't just pick from entry level. Don't just pick from whatever it may be. You want to get a good cross section of what that company is to give people an idea. Because again, if you're trying to portray it as something it's not, they're going to know as soon as they get there. And again, you spoke about the wasted time. It's just not in anybody's best interest to try to portray something that you're not. I think it is always good to have an aspirational goal to enhance the culture. right? Like you don't want to just be happy with what you have, but also don't be insincere. In terms of the page and testimonials and things like that, yeah, I think videos are hugely important. One thing I will say about the job postings themselves, something that I've had to learn and retrain myself on year over year, is write the job description for what you actually need. And I know this is different between if you're a large organization that's very structured and has clear definitions of what the role is, et cetera. But early on in my business, I was looking to hire someone in an accounting administrative role. And it was one of our first hires in that particular department. And I was looking online to find the template for the job description that I could take and modify a little bit, et cetera. And I had somebody that was an advisor to me at one point say, just write the job description for exactly what you need. Even if that job technically may not exist, if it's really a hybrid of three roles, write it for that. And you will attract the person that is interested in that. Because if you just take the structured thing that's kind of half true, but it fits what you think is supposed to be, they're going to come on board and be unhappy. And so I wrote a job description that I probably had never seen anywhere else that was a hybrid of three roles, but it's what we needed. And
Right.
I got one of the best employees that we've ever had to work for us who said, that's exactly what I'm looking for. So don't use other people's stuff um, if it's not exactly what you need. Be specific, talk in everyday language, and be approachable.
Well, and it goes along what you just said about being sincere. What's what you really need, being sincere. Um, this may sound counterintuitive, but one of the things that as recruiters we love to see posted on LinkedIn, posted on job sites, on the website, are internal promotions. We like to see education. We like to see training programs for employees. And I know a lot of people think that's silly because that means that's one position that you can't recruit for as a recruiter. And I always say, well, as executive recruiters, we are an addition to your internal recruiting team. We aren't replacing it. And we like to see those things because, we are often brought on to recruit those tough to fill positions, something that may have been open for a while, um, something that's a little more unusual, or a company has grown to a certain size where they now need to bring on in-house, take some services in-house, maybe marketing, for example. They don't have a marketing department and now they need to bring on a chief marketing officer. So we're brought on to recruit for that. Or they've grown to a size where they have three salespeople that they've grown from within, and all of a sudden they need a fourth body, and we've got to help them find that fourth body. So again, we are an addition to their internal recruiting team. We aren't replacing it. And when we see internal promotions, when we see education and training programs for employees, that just makes it an easier sell for us to candidates, because we can say this company has a history of growing, investing in, educating its employees. So that is always just makes it easier for us. Do you encourage if that's something that's big for them, encourage companies to put those things, on their websites, post them on social media, that type of thing?
100%, because I mean, that's really good candidates typically, in my experience, don't want to jump around. They want to find a place where they can, the job search, interview, vetting process is not fun. It is hard. It is emotional. It involves not only you and your career aspirations, but your family, their livelihood. You're talking about benefits. You're looking at location. You're looking at what is on site versus remote. Like there's so much that goes into it beyond just the job itself. And so if you can find a place as a candidate that not only can you contribute right away and be recognized and rewarded for your contributions at that time, but also you see a pathway to continue to grow, and you see that the company is going to invest in you, and it's not just here you're a cog in a wheel. Like that's awesome, because that means they don't have to go through what can be a strenuous process in terms of trying to find a home for your career. So yeah, it's 100%. And also it's important also for the companies themselves, because there is a huge gap in terms of senior management right now, where people are coming into positions. There's leadership, but who's the next man up, right? We're Baltimore Ravens fans here. So, they have a next man up philosophy. Who is the next man up? So I think it's a responsibility for management to say, great, as soon as you come into your job, yes, go execute against that job, but who's going to take my place in 3, 5, 7, 10 years? And so you've got to start grooming, educating, and bringing those people forward in the organization. And isn't it always better if they have worked from the ground up or from a middle management position, so that they have empathy for those roles? So it's great to show that pathway again, not only for recruitment purposes for the employee, but it's actually beneficial to the bottom line and to the organizational long-term health as well. So yeah, anything you can do to show that how that is invested in, what the job opportunities and the pathways are is awesome. And you can do that through telling employee stories. If you have someone who has risen from an entry level position and now is a senior manager in a completely different area of your division of the company and say, look, there's opportunity here to find what you love and we will invest in you and get you to that place. I think it's great. You just have to tell the stories. So many companies have the stories and then they don't share them.
Right. No, that's great. That's a great point. So anything else as we kind of wrap this up? Anything else that companies should be thinking about, on their online presence and exploring when they're trying to attract candidates?
Yeah, I mean, two things. Know that your analytics will tell you that your About Us page and your careers page are two of the top three pages that someone is going to come to on your website. So knowing that, don't spend all of your time just looking at that homepage and making it the only investment you make. Look at those other pages. Create them with intent. Think about the user journey of what someone would want to see. Give them the attention that they deserve. That's one thing. And then number two is so many companies are doing good things. They just aren't talking about them. You need someone internally or externally to be that reporter that is constantly telling your story on the website, through social media, through speaking engagements, whatever. You're doing the right things. Get a megaphone, put it in front of your mouth, and start telling those stories. It's you're already 99% of the way there. So that's it.
No, and that's something you guys told us to do very much as well. And sometimes, especially, it means getting out of your comfort zone a little bit sometimes because you feel a little silly, like, oh, look at us. But at the same time, it is really you get comfortable with it, and it becomes kind of fun. If hey, we're at a meeting here, and hey, we're going to this city to meet with these people, and it actually becomes kind of fun to
You you
broadcast what you're
can
doing.
Well, and you can tackle that a lot of different ways. A lot of people look, the best stories and the best content is going to come from your leaders and your people and your customer facing folks that are out there experiencing those things. But that does not mean they should be the ones to write them. If you put that on people's plates, it always becomes the ninth or 10th most important thing that they have to do. And the stories don't get told. So come up with a process, whether it's through hiring a marketing firm, hiring somebody internally, getting them a virtual personal assistant that can help post for them and do those things. There's a lot of ways to tackle that that can make you successful. But just by telling someone to go start creating content is the perfect way to know that it's not going to happen for 12 months. Like it's never going to get the momentum that it needs.
Right, right. Well, Tom, thank you very much for joining me this morning. I greatly appreciate it. And we are going to include contact information for Ainsley as well as CA Search Advisors at the end of this webinar. So if folks are interested in reaching out to either of us, that information will be available. So Tom, thank you again. I know you are in a very blustery cabin in the North Carolina mountains. I can see the wind blowing in the background. Enjoy, stay warm. Thank you again. And thank you to everyone watching this webinar. Enjoy.
It's been fantastic. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you all. Goodbye.